What's up, everybody? Welcome to a Sunday edition of The Squeeze. I am Tyler Conium. And what is sports betting if you can't take the bad with the good and the good with the bad? And last night was one of the bad, I guess. It wasn't that bad. It was officially a 1-2 day, but just kind of a bummer way for it to happen. So we had the Jays and the Reds under 10.5. That hit fairly easily. It was a bit sweaty. It was 3-3 in the sixth inning, but only one more run got scored the rest of the way, so that hit. We lost on the WNBA bet. Like, the Aces got beat again, and pretty badly, actually, there. So that didn't go well. But the heartbreaker, man, was the CFL game. We had Ottawa on the money line, plus 105. They were up by 11 points against Montreal with 5 minutes to go, and they lose by 1. In the last 5 minutes, they gave up a field goal and 2 touchdowns. And including a touchdown with 15 seconds left on the clock. Game over. So it's kind of it's a bit frustrating. Obviously, we started the week good. We're up 5 units. We're still up 3 because when you go 1-2, like, the difference, it's interesting. The difference between 3-0 and 2-1 is massive. It's 3 units to 1 unit. And the difference between going 1-2 and 0-3, like 1-2 saves your night. You lose a unit depending on the juice, obviously, but we had a minus 112 there and a plus 105 on the CFL, so not so bad. But like 3 units versus 1 unit, it's interesting. So we stick with it. We persevere. We're still up 3 units. We're at a point that even if we lose all of our bets today, it's still a break-even day here for the Squeeze. Before we get into today's bets, just want to let you know, if you use the QR code on the screen or the link in the description below, you sign up for a new sportsbook. No matter if you're in the United States, you're in Canada, you choose your state, you sign up for a sportsbook, make a minimum deposit, you're guaranteed the best exclusive offers and bonuses that you're not going to find anywhere else, thanks to my partnership with BetStamp and with those books specifically. Also with BetStamp, that's linked in the description, where you can track all my bets, which hopefully you didn't do yesterday. It was a 3-unit loss day. We had some UFC bets. We had sort of like, I find whenever I kind of get caught up and it's like, let's make like at 8 bets yesterday, it doesn't seem to go so well. When I stay around the 3, 4, maybe add one here or there, we seem to do okay. So I post all those, all the picks. So, didn't do too great. It was a 2-6 day, down 3 units overall, but it is what it is there. Also, hop in the Discord. That's where you'll find the chats, the information, where I post everything first there. Okay. Let's get into today, and let's go to the series finale with the Toronto Blue Jays and the Cincinnati Reds. I'm obviously a Blue Jays fan, so my pick might be a bit of a homer pick, but I like this spot here because the Blue Jays are going up against Hunter Greene, who has not pitched in about 2 months thanks to a hip injury. So Hunter Greene was the Cincinnati Reds opening day starter. He's had 14 starts before going on to the injury list. He had a slow start to the year. In his final 5 starts before the injury, he did have an ERA of 2.97. His fastball was in and around 97 at that point. He's oftentimes up around 100. I like the Blue Jays here on the money line in the first 5 innings. This is only minus 112, and it's at FanDuel. The Jays are countering today with Hyunjin Ryu, who's been outstanding. He hasn't given up an earned run in his last 2 starts. Granted, he did leave one early, but he still pitched 4 innings. His last time out, he went 5 innings, struck out 3, gave up 2 hits, no earned runs against the Chicago Cubs. Now, the Cincinnati Reds against left-handed pitching are only batting .250, averaging 3.1 hits, 0.4 home runs, and 0.4 extra base hits, and have an on-base percentage of 3.23. I like this spot for the Blue Jays, even though they've struggled to score runs. They did score 4 yesterday, which, certainly isn't setting the world on fire. It was another under. And if you want to take under here again today, I'm not going to blame you, but it's kind of weird. It's a Sunday. It's a day game. You just kind of never know. But I think they're going to be able to maybe jump on Hunter Greene here. It's his first game back from an injury, and the Jays lineup still is fairly daunting on paper. You've got to face Bo Bichette, who's back. You've got to face Vladimir Guerrero, George Springer, etc. And it's going to be tough on your very first start back. You're getting thrown into a team that's right in the middle of a playoff race. Cincinnati is as well. So I like the Blue Jays here just in the first 5. I do trust their bullpen, but let's just have them to get on Hunter Greene early in his first start back. Minus 112 on FanDuel. Moving to the CFL, and this one's a bit tricky. This is a coin flip in the sense of it's the BC Lions and it's the Saskatchewan Roughriders. It's minus 9.5 and it's minus 110 on both sides. You can take either way. I wouldn't really blame you. The Lions got back to their winning ways yesterday, and they smoked the the Calgary Stampeders. It was a 37-9 win against Calgary. It was Vernon Adams' first game back after his injury, and they got their 7th win of the season. So BC is now 7-2 on the year. You could argue they have got the most dynamic receiving group in the league, which was on full display last Saturday. Keon Hatcher had 170 yards and a touchdown. Alexander Hollins had 80 yards, and Lucky Whitehead scored his first touchdown of the season. So before that, BC had given up 50 points to the Bombers, but they got back down to business, and they were able to keep Calgary to 9, who is a pretty good team. Then you go to Saskatchewan. They just lost 41-12 to Montreal, and they're also going to have rookie quarterback in for them. So they're going to be without Mason Fine. He's got a hamstring injury in this game, so they've got Jake Dolagala making his second career start in his CFL career. And we go back to week 7, the last time these two teams played. BC won 19-9, and they lost Vernon Adams to a knee injury. I think when the Lions win, they win big. When you look at their history this season, they have routed teams. I know they're on the road. I know Saskatchewan, they do need this win at 4-5. They're not so bad, but I think BC is starting to separate themselves in terms of the upper echelon of this teams in the CFL this year, which is Toronto, Winnipeg, and BC. I just think they're going to have more firepower here against Saskatchewan. I know it's a big ask. You kind of have to be concerned. Maybe something similar happens like did last night with Montreal. Maybe there's a late score, something of that nature. But when BC wins, they win big. I think BC wins this football game. Vernon Adams is back and he's healthy. Saskatchewan's got their backup quarterback in. And, BC just gave up 9 points to a Calgary team that I think is a little bit better, or at least playing better right now. So it's a big ask. Don't mind if you go plus 9.5 on the other side. We went up 10 units in the CFL. We've lost 3 straight CFL bets, so take that for what it's worth, but I'm taking the Lions to cover minus 9.5. That is minus 110 at DraftKings. And the last bet of the day, we're going back to Major League Soccer. I know there's a lot of baseball. We've done very well in baseball. Baseball is way up this season, but the pitching matchups today, you got a lot of Sunday day games. The pitching matchups, you've either got 2 really good pitchers against each other or 2 really bad pitchers against each other, which always makes it difficult sort of to predict what you think is going to happen there. Haven't bet MLS in a while. This is another one of those seasons. Signed up for the season pass on Apple TV, and Toronto FC is terrible. They're 3-11-10. They are out of it. And another year goes by where I've started to lose interest in Major League Soccer. But I am going to go back to the well here a little bit now, because it's Toronto at home today. It's at BMO Field, and they're facing off against Montreal. Montreal has not lost any of its last 6 meetings with Toronto. 5 wins and a draw, including winning each of the last 3. Both of the 6-match unbeaten run and the 3-match winning streak are CF Montreal's longest such runs against Toronto in the history of MLS. Toronto FC has lost 8 straight matches in all competitions following a pair of defeats in the Leagues Cup, the longest losing streak in all competitions in their history. I'm going to bet the streak here. I'm going to bet Montreal to win this soccer game. It's plus 114. That's at Pinnacle Sports. And a draw is no bet, which I like. So if this ends in a draw, because keep in mind, TFC, they've played 24 games. They've won 3 of them. The other 21 have been a draw, or a loss. So if this game ends in a draw, no harm, no foul. That's a push for us. Love that bet. Because Montreal isn't, they're not the greatest either. They're 9-12-2. They don't draw as much, but they've got 6 more wins on this season than Toronto does. Toronto FC has failed to score in 6 straight matches in all competitions. This is the second time that's ever happened to them before. And then you look at CF Montreal. They've won all 9 MLS matches in which it's taken the lead at any point this season. So if they score first, kind of, great news for us, because Toronto FC doesn't score at all, and Montreal doesn't lose when they score first, and worst case scenario, FC does manage to score a goal, and we end in a draw, and it's a push. The last time these two teams met was in May. Montreal won 2-1. They played twice in May, actually. Montreal won 2-1. Previous to that, they won 2-0 and 2-1. It's a lost season for TFC. They've had to fire their coach. Everything with Insigne's been bad. It's just a bad season. You're getting Montreal here still fighting for a playoff spot, which I think is good news for them, whereas Toronto's kind of like, whatever. It's a Sunday night game. The season's almost over. They don't really care all that much. I mean, Montreal on the money line, plus 114 at Pinnacle. And again, a draw is no bet, no harm, no foul. So if you want to grab any of these odds or these bets, use the QR code link in the description, sign up for a book, make a minimum deposit. You can do that and also get the best exclusive offers there. You can follow me across all of my social media channels, linked in the description, Discord being the one that I would recommend the most. Your 3 bets for today: give me the Toronto Blue Jays on the money line in the first 5 innings. It's minus 112 at FanDuel. Give me the BC Lions to cover minus 9.5. It's minus 110 at DraftKings. And give me CF Montreal on the money line, draw no bet, plus 114 at Pinnacle Sports. As always, drop a comment if you're fading or following. Your audio is on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts. Let's have a good week. Let's have a winning week. Let's talk sports.